Hello, welcome to our second episode of building AI powered apps. And in today's episode, we are building our first project. Okay, so in this project, we're going to build a smart shopping chatbot, and we are going to divide this project into two parts. The first one is going to be the backend, where we're going to create all the tools we need, the agent, and the API. And in the front end, we use AI elements, which are also provided by the way, Vercel AI elements. We're just going to see how to use them. So in this episode particularly, we're just going to work on the backend. So if I'm to show you what we worked on, we actually created a couple of things. First of all, we created an agent. So if you look at this lib agent, we have the shopping agent with all the rules. So for example, we have shopping agent with new, and we're using Cloud Sonnet. And then we have the system. With this system is the instructions that the agent needs to follow. After the system, we call the tools, and we have created about 6 tools. They want to register the user, then the user searches the products, and after they searching the products, the user selects the products he has selected, he has liked, and then we get the delivery location. We create the payment on Stripe. And when the payment is successful, we go ahead and create an order in database. So those are a total of 6 tools, and we went ahead and created all these tools as you see them here. Then we have, of course, the types which are being used in the tools here. Okay, which are being used in the tools here. As you can see, we have the description parameters, and then we're using these types and the schemas here. So now in the next episode that we're going to do is where we're going to actually go ahead. We also have the API actually here. Endpoint that is actually invoking, as you can see down here, is invoking the shopping agent respond. So in the next episode is where we're going to go ahead and build our UI, and in the UI is where we're going to use the AI elements. So join me in this episode. We go ahead and build the backend, and after that, then we'll build the front end in the next episode. But let's get started with this one. Hello everyone, welcome to our second episode of building AI powered apps. And in this episode, we are going to build our first project. And in this project, we're just going to look at building a smart shopping chatbot. And we're just going to look at tools, agents, and database, and even more. And in the previous episode, we looked at tools, stream text, and others, and the whole introduction to the whole AI integration in our applications. So we'll start since we're going to use a database, we're just going to get we're going to get a repo which already has a database integration, more especially Postgres. So I think I'm just going to go and look for the video. I'm just going to go to YouTube. Let me just go to my channel. And I'm just going to go to this. And let's go ahead and look for this one. Next.js 16 with Prisma 7 setup. And I'm just going to go down here. And we have the source code. So I'm just going to start with this repo. Since it already has integration with Prisma, you can just go ahead and watch it if you haven't. So in a previous episode, we did this application. So I'm just going to go to YouTube. So let me just go to YouTube builders. I'm just going to go to, I think we created a folder for, I'm not sure if we created a folder for learning or AI integration. So this is going to be episode 2. Okay, so I'm just going to say episode 2, and I'm just going to go ahead and open this episode 2 in VS Code. Okay, so I'm just going to go here on the terminal. I will just say git, and just going to clone this, and I'm just going to call this e-commerce shopping chatbot. So this chatbot is going to be helping users in shopping. They just cd into the chatbot, then code here. Let's go ahead and install here. So I'm just going to go ahead and npm install to install all the dependencies. And another thing, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this .git to avoid maybe accidentally pushing anything on this onto this repo. I will just also go ahead and delete this first app that we created. I will also clean up this one, but let it just first finish installing the dependencies. So we'll start from, we'll go back to the documentation and we'll look at why we have agents. So I just want us to read about the agents, since we're going to be using agents and tools. So you can see here, say agents are large language models that use tools in a loop to accomplish a task. So an agent, it combines with the tools, is an LLM that use tools to accomplish a task. So in other words, they can code tools on their own. So you can see LLMs process input and decide the next action. Then tools extend the capabilities beyond the text generation. We have already looked at the tools, and then the loop orchestrates execution through context management and stopping conditions. So the first concept here is the agent class. So the agent class handles 3 concepts or components, and here is then an agent that uses multiple tools in a loop. So you have, for example, weather tool, conversion. The only difference is that this is inside a new agent and the agent is gotten from here. So that's the difference, and you can go ahead and execute these agents like this, which is really good. And from the result, you can see the text, and you can also see the steps that the agent took to actually do this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add a database here. We just need a database URL. I will just go ahead and use Neon. You can use anything else. I will just go ahead and create a new project. I'm just going to call this one AI shopping chatbot. I'm just going to go ahead and create this. Click on connect, and let's go ahead and get the env and just copy this, and let's add it in this here. Okay, so you can just close out this. So this failed to run the Prisma generate, which we just going to run in a second, but I think the installation was done. So if I do npm dev, I should be able to run on port 3000. So if I just go in the app, here is where I have everything that we have, getting the categories and even adding the category here. Just going to go here. So we don't have the migrations on the database, which we're going to do in a few. But right now what we just need is simply a simple thing. Okay, so you can see the Prisma generate client. We're just going to run this in a second. That's not a big deal. The big deal right now is what we have here in this. I will also add the API key in the environmental variables. I will also go ahead and add the API key as we did in the previous. Okay, and here we have a lot of agents. So basically the agents they're not hard. You can see you can create an agent by calling a new agent, and this agent is gotten from this experimental as agent. So I guess this one will change in the future, and we just import the agent direct. So so we have here building agents. So you can see why use agent class, reuse configuration, maintain consistency. So you see the good thing with that is that you can define an agent, and you can also have tools in a different place. You don't have to define all the tools in here. You can define them in a different place, and you can also define the agent in a different place and call the agent in also a different place. So in the agent you can pass in the system prompt, and you can also pass in the tools, of course, as we saw. And then we have the loop control. By default the agent runs once, we saw that. And then you can just use stop when to add this. So that is something that is very familiar. The only thing that you just need to actually look at is when you need a structured output. So you see you can actually go here, and we know that the schema in the output here you can see experimental output, and then you can see output.object. So you can also specify exactly how you want the output to look like. Okay, so you can of course on the system you can just add in all the details of the prompt like this. Then another thing is, of course, as you can see, you can define these outside, and then you just come and pass them in here like this. The another thing that you just need to look at, I think, is so if you want to generate the text for one-time text generation, you can do this. Then you can also use stream text. Then you can say respond to the UI messages. Okay. So the one I want to look at is actually the workflows. So workflow patterns combine the building blocks from the overview with this and add structure and reliability to your agents. So there are workflows. Basically there are 5 workflows, and the first one is this sequential processing, a step-by-step processing, steps executed in order. Parallel processing, independent tasks run simultaneously, evaluation feedback loop, results checked and improved, then orchestration, coordinating multiple components, routing, directed work based on context. So they explain these patterns, and this was based on the guide from Anthropic. You can just go ahead and read this guide in full. It's actually a very interesting one, so you can just like really go ahead and read this guide. They explain like the you can see here the building block and then you can just say prompt chaining, workflow prompt chaining, whereby you put in this and it passes output 2 like that. So you can just go ahead and read about them, but they also explain one by one here. So let's just go to the project since we don't have much time. I just want to go to the documentation here. So if you just go to the blog, look for this one, building AI-powered e-commerce chatbot. It has this here. So I'm just going to talk about the overview so that we understand what we are going to build. So I'm just going to build a chat shop assistant. So the concept is a conversational AI shopping assistant built with Vercel AI SDK agent architecture that guides customers through the entire purchase journey, from the product discovery to payment, using natural language chat. So what basically want to give an experience is that the person comes and chats with the AI and be able to buy things from the e-commerce, because it is more easy than just like clicking, navigating, rather you would chat and then get what you want. So the agent handles multi-step flow workflows and making intelligent decisions about tools usage while maintaining conversation context. So the key value propositions here: intelligent workflow, agent uses SDK agent class. We looked at that, the orchestration, context aware, structured outputs, and then production. So let's just look at the tech stack. That one we use 16, not 15. The one I'm just going to look at actually is, I don't know if we would add all the features, including like Stripe processing, but I'm just going to add the database and maybe also resend. Let me first pause and add my API key for the I'm just going to add for API gateway, AI gateway, and resend. You can also add for resend. We just use resend for sending emails. After the successful purchase, we should be able to send the email. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause for now. So I'm just like right now done. I've gone ahead and added my environmental variables. I've added the resend API key and the AI gateway keys. So since we just want this to be an e-commerce, I just want to quickly seed some products. So I'll first get here the user. Let's first try to get actually this whole entire you can just get this. I'm just going to add this in my schema. So I'm just going to go where we have this category now. We don't need this. So let's look at the tables. The first one is going to be user. This is going to be used to store the name, email, and the phone of the user. And then we'll have the session and orders. So the session are going to be those sessions that the person is interacting with the bot. So when he starts, we create a session, and then we'll be using that session, to interact with the bot at that time. Then we have the product. We have the name, description, price, category, image, and then stock, and then tags. Okay, and then to have order items. So how many items have been ordered from this, and then we'll have the session, which has the user ID or not. Then we have the stage, For example, you can see here registration. So we have a lot of stages, and then selected plus, which will be a JSON. And then we have also the location of the person and some other metadata. Then we have the order details. So this is like basically creating like some data for the e-commerce, where we have an order can have order items like this. That's the difference. And it has also this. Now I'm just going to convert this into a float, and this is going to be also a float. It's going to be a float. So make sure you don't have the decimal type. So you're just going to confirm you don't have decimal. I'm just going to replace everything decimal. Let's start with 6 out of 6. I'm just going to set this to a float, and then we'll have this 4 out of 4. I'm also just going to go ahead and replace this with a float. And then finally we just have this price. I'm just going to say a float. That's the problem with the AI. So we have the user, and then we have the product, then we have the session, and then we have the order, and then we have the order item. I'm just going to go ahead and push these ones. Now if wanted, we could just actually add the timestamps. I'm not sure if that is important or not, but we could just go ahead and add the timestamps onto these ones. Others have them, others don't. So just going to go ahead and first of all stop the server. Just going to say clear. I'm just going to say pnpm, just going to say Prisma migrate Dave dash dash. Now make sure here you don't have any of these ones. Let me just also go down here and get the seed file. Just want to add a bunch of products because we might not have time to actually create the forms for adding products and so on. So let me just go here and search for seed. Okay, so in the seed, I'm just going to have this async function. Okay, and just like copy this. Just going to go back to the seed. Okay, so we just go ahead and replace all this. Okay, so the seed has been done. So what you want also is to go in the lib and look at this Prisma, which is lacking this Prisma client. So let's run npx Prisma generate Prisma generate, just like this. So this is going to generate our based on our schema is going to generate this, and this is going to repass in the seed. So here we are having this Prisma. Let's go ahead and import it from lib Prisma here. So we import this as db, so we can just go in the seed and we use db here like so. Let me make sure I have db. So let's see if we have db imported anywhere on top here. So you can CDB from Prisma. So we don't need this here, like so. Okay, so you can see the seed has no problem now, since we have the even the Prisma in here is cool because we have it generated now, the client. So the next thing is to go ahead and run the seed. Now if you just go to the Prisma config here, it tells you what the seed file is supposed to be. So the seed is supposed to be tsx Prisma seed. Make sure that this is in the Prisma folder, seed. And let's look at the products first that we have. We have 1, 2, 3. Now we need to go ahead and add these products. I'm just going to go to the public. Okay, and we can just like create a folder for products, like so. And then we have, so the first one is going to be, let me just go to the last one. Okay, so I will just like first of all pause and then add all these images, then I'll be back. Okay, so I've just added all the image URLs. Okay, so I'm just going to want to seed this data into the database. Okay, so I'm just going to run npx prisma db seed. I don't think if we need to add in here package.json, there is already a Prisma seed command. Okay, so I'm just going to run npx prisma db seed. Then I should run the seeding command. So you can see here the seeding created 12 products. You can just confirm these products in the database by clicking on tables. And I just want to look at these products. So if you click on product, you see that we actually have these products, which is nice. So we can now focus on building now the UI and everything else. So the first thing is want to first go ahead and build out the UI. So I'm just going to go back in here. Let's go back to up here. So we have a database that represent this one, and the next thing, let's go ahead and install the SDK. More especially, we just want to install this AI, and instead of just AI SDK Anthropic, we're just going to only install for React. Okay, so if you just go back to this, let me duplicate this. So if you just go to overview here, I think maybe let me first click on the docs. So here is where we have suppose have somewhere the installation. Let's just go to integration, Next.js app router here. This is why you're supposed to go ahead and install, and you can see that you need the AI React, AI and AI React, only those two things, and I believe Zod is already there. So I'm just going to go ahead and install these ones, the AI and AI SDK, since we are just going to be using the AI gateway. But if you wanted to use Anthropic, then you could just go ahead and install the other one. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the documentation. So after installing this, we already have Prisma. We could just actually also install Resend. Okay, we can just go ahead and install Resend. And Stripe. We might just not add Stripe. I'm not sure. If time allows, because I can see that we need to fight with time list, so payments would be added last. So we already have the database, everything set, except that we don't have the Stripe secret key and Stripe this key here. I could pause and add them. I don't know if right now I need them. Just going to first leave them. The first one is creating the agents. So in the lib, we're just going to have the agents. So here, I'm just going to have another folder, which is just going to call agent. Do we just call agent? And then just going to add the tools. So agent, then we have tools dot tsx. So this is supposed to be ts. So here is where we're going to define all the tools that we need. Remember, the tools are previously, so we just need to add all the tools in here. I'm just going to go ahead and actually also get for Stripe. Okay, just going to go ahead and get the Stripe API key, secret, and Stripe publishable key. So let me go to Stripe. Stripe login. Not sure if I'm still logged in or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually log in. Let me first log in and then I will get the keys. So I'm logging in my Stripe. So you can just go ahead and search. Okay, so you just going to say stay in test mode, but they also have now sandboxes as the new way to test. Create a user environment to build and test Stripe integration. Multiple resulted in request up to 5 sandboxes, each its own API keys. Okay, so I think it's something we're going to explore in the future, but right now let me stay in the test mode. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for keys, API keys, and then we can just go ahead and copy these keys into our I'm just going to add these keys, then I'll be back. Okay, so I've also added the secret key. I haven't created anything else. I just got the API keys, added them in the environmental variables, and that's all. So the next thing they're just going to do here is actually creating the agents that we need. So I'm just going to copy this file, and then just going to go through agent on all these agents one by one. So of course we need the tool, and then this Prisma here. I think we don't have Prisma, which I will get, and then also this API version right now. So you can see we have if you just go here, they will give us a suggestion. Okay, just going to add that. So the first one is the register tool. So if you just see, we have export const register tool is equal to, and then we define first we describe the tool. So register a new user with their name, email, and phone number. Call this first when a user provides their registration details. The parameters here, you can see that we have the name, email, phone number, and the session ID, which is describe the current session ID. Okay. Then execute function is complaining, I think, of the types. I don't know if we can just define this as Zod. So let me just say Zod.object. I'm just going to call this a registration schema. So I'm not sure if we could create types in the lib. Just put types, just like types.ts, and we could just go ahead, maybe I'm just drop it in the agents. We could just go ahead and get, for example, we already have this schema, right? So you can just go ahead and cut this, and in the types we can export const let's just say type. No, we could just say export type const. I'm just going to call this register schema, and is equal to this. Let's go ahead and import Zod register. So you could just get this register, and let me bring it in here. Import this like so. So we could now get the types of this. So if we want to get the const type register register maybe data, we just say is equal to, and we could just say z dot infer. Okay, infer type, I think, export const yeah, we just say infer, and then here we say type type of register schema, like this. So if you look at this, you can see this is nicely typed. So if we go back on the execute, this we could say the register from data like this. Okay, just look at the execute now. Let's first of all go to DB, and even this one, DB DB. Okay, so just finish one to see what it is doing. The execute is saying no over matches this code. The last over gave the following error: type promise is not assignable to type undefined. I don't know if this is on the response, but if you look at what this does in the register, check if the user exists. So you first get the user, and if there is no user, we go ahead and create the user. Then we update the session. So db.session.update where id. So we update with this user id, and the stage is product discovery. Okay, so it updates the stage. Return success, user id, and welcome name. You are all set. What products are you looking for? And if it fails, so for this, I'm not sure. We could also go ahead and console.log the error. I'm not sure at this point what problem we have with execute, but it says that they promise this, or user id then message undefined is not assignable type undefined. So basically, I'm not sure if the return is supposed to be of execute is supposed to be undefined, but I just leave it at that level. If you just go to search the search product tool, we describe search for products based on the user query. Always return exactly for products. Use this when a user describe what they want to buy. So parameters, search, and then this. So we also have the parameters here. So I'm just going to do the same thing. This is search product schema. So you can just go ahead and cut this up to here. Actually, I'm just going to go here and export const. I'm just going to say that this is search product schema. Let's look at this. We have this, and we can also export type. So I'm just going to say here, this is search. There is an R here. So this is going to be search data, and here we are importing this. So what's the problem with this here? Must be all exported, or so what is this? I'm just not knowing what's going on. So if I just go back this side, I'm just going to say search schema, and then these ones is going to be search data. Okay, and wherever there is this, just going to put db dot. Okay, so we have also the query, which is a string, and category, which is a string or undefined. Maybe it's because of the user ID, because Okay, let me just, we shall fix this. So basically, when we get the query, we just go ahead and run the query in the product.find menu. We use where and or. So we first start with this first or, where we search in the name, in the description, and even the tags. Then we also search for the category if it exists, and then only in stock, and then we only get 4 in the descending order. If the product strings is equal to 0, I couldn't find any products matching. If they are there, we are returning them in here, the ID, name, description, and stock. I've found these products, great options for you, and then like that. I can also console log error. So this is the one for the tool for searching products. Then we have the one save product selection. You remember these ones, we save them in the session. Save the products user selected 1 to 2 products max. I don't know why, but we can just add 1 to 4 products since there are 4. Someone can select all of them. Then call this after user confirms their selection. So here we have parameters. Also, we can just go ahead and get this as selected product schema, this one. So you can see it's an object which has session and the product IDs of the selected. So I'm just going to go here. An array I think is enough, maybe minimum of 1. There is no need of maximum. I'm just going to go here and get this schema. Let's go types, and we can just duplicate this, and let's call the selected product schema selected product schema. Okay, and then we can just create the type, selected products data, and then here just going to add for selected. So let's go ahead and get this in the tools, and even here I'm just going to go ahead and add the selected. Okay, so get the products with current prices. So here we get the product IDs. So basically we just use the ID in here. We get all these products back, and 1 or more selected products are not available. If the length is 0, then we get the total amount, and then we can update the session, and then we return the products just like this. Now save delivery location. So the delivery location, save the delivery address provided by the user. So let's go ahead and also have the schema, which is for delivery location. So we can just go here, export const, and just going to say delivery location schema. Okay. Location, and then we can just get the location data. I just call it delivery location data, and we're just going to infer the delivery location schema. Okay, so we can just go ahead and go back to the tools, and here we put our schema, and then here we add the types, which is delivery data. So in the delivery data, we save it on the session, and you can see location and the stage. Here we are getting the session and location. Okay, and then we have the create payment. So create a payment intent for the order. Call this when a user confirms they want to proceed with payment. So we just go ahead. Here we have only this. I'm just going to leave this since it is only one, and then here I'm just going to say that session ID is a string. Okay, like so. We just get the session, and then we get the payment intent dot create. We get the amount, currency, metadata, and automatic payment methods enabled true. We return the client secret. Okay, and then after the payment is made, we create the order. So let's go ahead and say this is the order schema. I'm just going to cut this. Okay, so export const order schema, which is equal to this, and then we can export the order data, which is going to be equal to inferring type of the order schema. So we can start with this. And then here just going to say order data like this. Then just get the session, and then so in the session we get the session. From the session we select the products. Session would select the product as an array. Then we get the products db.find, where in this then we go ahead and create the order just like this, and then we also send the confirmation email. So for this, I'm just going to say here the email. So const email is equal to process dot env dot. So we also have this from email, and I'm just going to add this in here. Okay, just going to add this in here so we can convert this into backticks, and let's add the email here, and then we're just going to send the HTML for now. That's very okay with the other items. Then mark the session as complete, stage completed, and that's I think the last one. Okay, so we have all the tools. You see how we have created them. I think you get the concept now. Each tool has a description, has the parameters, and has the execute, and the execute is the one which communicates with the database. Now we still have this error. Okay, not assignable type undefined. I'm just going to get one of these here, and try to give it maybe to an AI to see what it is going to give us. Okay, so let me just go to maybe this time we go to Gemini. Okay, so if I have this, I can just give it cross. We can just give it this file here, and let's give it an error that we have, see how it's going to fix it. So the error is on the execute. So if I could just copy this, and here they said the last override is declared here, so I don't know why it is giving us that, but I have this error. I have this error from the register tool. The register tool execute function. Let's look at the time. We are so much approaching to this, but at least we have gone through all our tools that we've created. The only thing that we still have is this. It's not something we'll type undefined. I would want to know where that undefined is. Is it just so this error typically matches when using Vercel the scale2 function because of the mismatch between the Zod schema and the XP time annotation in the execute. So the tool helper executes the function arguments to match exactly what Z of this produces. If your manual registration data in interface differs even slightly from Zod validation, then TypeScript throws this no overload matches. Here is the fix. So basically, so it's saying that remove the registration data. TypeScript will automatically know the name, email, etc. are strings based on the schema. So is actually removing the types. Just like that. Let's go ahead and see if that one works. So if I just go ahead and actually remove the registration data, so now we actually get the NA thing, but still this one remains there. Okay, that remains there. It's just like, because if you look at this as in the promise, so return promise success boolean, user ID string, message string, error undefined, or success, error, user ID undefined, then a message also undefined. Is not assignable to type undefined. Because I don't know why he's getting this from. I think he's concluding it from here, because whatever you have the return, so here we have this user ID string, message string. Not sure, but let's just leave that one at that. Maybe we just fix that error later, but right now it is still there. Then the next thing here is after getting the tools done, so we have all our tools. Okay, so create a shopping agent, register user tool. Okay, so what is this shopping agent? Just going to go ahead and look at the shopping agent because this was tools. So here is shopping agent. Okay, shopping agent. So here just create the agent.ts. So in this one, I just say creating the agent. Let me first see. We don't need this anthropic. I'm going to define it. So the model is going to be define it direct. Here, we're just going to define this like so. The model like so, and then we give the system, you are a chatbot assistant, a friendly. So this is why we define all these registration process, then product discovery. We give it all the processes and all the guidelines. The only thing I have to say is on the selection force. Here is just going to change to 4 products. Okay, important guidelines: be conversational friendly and not robotic. Only move forward when they have required information. Only confirmation before moving. So then we call all the tools. Stop when the count is 15. So this allows to up to 15 steps from the complete workflow. How we come up with 15? I'm not so sure because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. So when it completes the first one, it is 1. So I think like it can be allowed to create 15 steps for the complete workflow. So optionally prepare a step. They may be here based on the conversation. If the step is equal 10, then if the step is, if message is greater than 20, okay. Export inferred messages for use in components. So here we're trying to infer extend agent. What do we have? The agent, then model tools option. This is supposed to be imported up here. We have experimental agent and message types, export type, extends agent. Then infer. I'm not sure of these types. For now, let me just comment them. So this is the agent. Now we create the API. So we create our app chat API, this one. So then if we already have the API, let's create a new file. API chat API route here. So this is the route. So remember we have 3 things. We have the tools, then we have agent that call these tools, and then we have the API and then we have the UI. So basically these are just like the 4 things that we need for the complete cycle. So I'm just going to go back to here and let's get the API. Here's going to be DB allow up to 60 seconds for the complex workflows. So we have message and session ID. So let's say db.session. It first finds the session. If there is no session, we create it. It is saying that ID is not missing on this session. Let's go ahead and look at the schema, more especially the one for the session. So the session has stage. It has the total amount. Okay, so we could just do this. Okay. Yeah, we could just do that, and then let's just restart. So we can just do pnpm prisma db push and pnpm. I'm just going to say is not migrate, but to generate pnpm prisma generate. Okay, so if we just go back to the route, this should now work because need the ID and the stage. Okay, okay, so that's the route. Basically that's it. So you can see shopping agent do respond the messages. So you just need to try this out and see how this is going to turn out. So the chat interface is what is remaining, which is on the page. So we expect on top here, first of all, to see. So the shopping message, this is what we commented out. Use chat is from not this. I'm just going to get the use chat. Where is the use chat? So this is the use chat. Can we import use chat at from this is supposed to be at AI SDK React? Yeah, so this is why we get this here. We have session ID. Now we need to get these messages. We have message input, handle, input change, submit, all from use chat. You pass in all this. So here is does not exist on the use chat. Can we first look at the use chat? So if we go back to this and let's, where these docs don't have a search. Can you imagine? What? For sure, there is no search actually for rare. Okay, can we just search for, I'm just going to search use chat AI SDK use chat. So they say allows user to create a conversational user interface for a chatbot application to enable streaming of chat messages from the AI provider. So this is how you use it, and so it has parameters, and you can see here the chat parameters chat UI message. So I want to see this. We have the chat I'm not sure what they mean these parameters. So it has the body, extra body object sent with the requests. So this is the body where we passed session ID. That is correct. Then we have the API, which it is saying that this. Okay, so if I don't put this, does API still? But in here they specify that it has the API, which is a string, and by default it is this one, the API endpoint. I'm not sure why it is not recognizing it, but according to but this looks like there is this transporter. The transporter transport. So are all these inside the default chat transport? I don't understand actually, or inside. So they say that the transport to use for sending messages, default to default chat transport with API chat endpoint. Since we have done all these other ones, we have done the shopping agent, we have done the tools, the types, and we have set up database. So, and it is already past 1 hour. So what I propose that we actually do the page, because we have a lot to communicate and understand with this. Okay, so what I just suggest is that we leave this page empty. I'm just going to say RFC. Let's just say RFC, and this is going to be the chart page. Okay, and let me just go ahead and start npm dev, because I want us to use the AI elements. So just going to use the AI elements for this UI. So in the next, we're just going to look at AI elements and how to actually use them in our case. See how we can use them here. You can see how the AI elements looks like. We just look at them in the next episode. But in this episode, let's make sure that everything is actual learning. Let me just go to the localhost 3000 and see. Yeah, so you can see that we have the chat page. I'm just going to say, maybe we just going to say class name, padding of 8, and let's just say here text 3 Excel font board. I'm just going to say here building the chat assistant, chat shopping shopping assistant. So we are building an assistant for 3 pass for shopping, and in the next episode we'll just go ahead and build the UI for our backend. Okay, so we did the backend. So here we have the shopping assistant. So we have the backend part, and then we have the front end part. Okay, so in the front end is where we created the agent. So we first created the tools, and then we created the agent, and then we invoke the agent in the API. So you can just come here and say API, and this is to invoke the agent. So on the front end is where we're going to use AI elements to make sure that we render the appropriate API. Yeah, so this is what you're going to do in our next episode, looking at the AI elements. Okay, yeah, so thank you so much. I will see you in the next episode.